Both players are not having great tournaments so far, but I think they are both really wishing to recover in the second half, to fight, okay, maybe not for first because the difference with Shahryar is just too big, but fight for some prizes, okay.
And we have knight f3, g3, not so ambitious opening with white. Now black developed quite comfortably.
It looks like Sergey did not want to play Berlin, but this is a lightly boring symmetrical structure. White has bishop pair, but it's not of such a great importance in this line because black has no weaknesses. Black pieces are active enough. Bishop's pair is bishop's pair, but somehow it's not so easy to find an active plan. For white, normally he tries to bring his knight to some active position.
Maybe to c4 and
c4 and
d1
and then c4 and then. This is a real problem because putting knight on e3, then e4 will be hanging always. Well,
but black c6 makes the d6 square very, very slightly weak.
But how to use it?
But it's not really obvious how to use it. They are developing normally, I guess. It's all logical moves. Now the pawn on h3 is under attack, so h4 was...
Yes, Sergey is preparing
obvious.
Knight f1 or something, knight e6, very good maneuver.
Knight b3, it's...
aiming to, okay, he had to protect d4 square.
Yeah, and c3 was not really good because then d3 would be...
Then knight c5 back and knight goes to d3. Yeah, okay, so knight b3, well. Vladimir is playing quite ambitiously. Opening the lines is not what is perfectly recommended when playing against bishop's pair, so I'm not completely sure about this b5 stuff.
But c3 was not very ambitious also. ab5 was...
ab5, then a4.
Needed calculation.
Then a4...
And knight d4.
Still fighting for d4 square, so he defended this d4. Very, very ambitious play by Vladimir Kramnik.
Now the b file is open and it's a bit dubious, the knight on b3, as it cannot be comfortably protected.
Yes.
Rook b8, knight c5 might be ideas for black.
Yeah, rook is under attack. If rook goes, then a4 is coming. If knight retreats to d2, then knight c5. Well, very interesting positional idea by Vladimir Kramnik. Not so...
a4, knight d2, maybe knight c5 now to defend the a4.
That was he was aiming for.
Now d3 square, it's really weak, and bishop e2, it's nice move, controls the d3 square and attacks the queen on b5, so Vladimir has to do something about it. Queen b6, knight c4 then. So queen has to go somewhere where it won't be under attack immediately, I guess.
Yes.
Queen b7 probably seems normal.
Then still, I think,
Knight c4.
Knight c4, followed by bishop e3, and somehow this a4 pawn might... Oh, no, bishop e3 is not an option because then e5 will be hanging.
Right. Maybe queen b7 and there is no knight c4? Well, there is knight c4, but e4 pawn
bishop c4.
Bishop c4 is nice.
Yes. Defending e4 pawn and probably preparing the knight maneuver in the other direction. So
maybe knight f3.
Knight f3, knight g5.
Knight g5. Also, it's very nice to control the b3 square. And now knight e8, it's obvious move that knight d6 probably will follow to make this bishop on c4 a little bit uncomfortable and ask, where are you going?
But knight f3 attacks e5 pawn. Well, it's necessary to calculate if something like knight f3, knight d6,
Knight e5.
knight e5, bishop f6.
Bishop f6,
And suddenly,
f7 pawn is
no, protected
attack,
by knight
but
d6.
it's
Yeah.
not, yeah. Knight f3 is there. Maybe bishop f6 we have to play.
No,
knight d6.
That's what Vladimir had in mind. Bishop f6 is quite interesting. Quite interesting. What? Okay, maybe knight f7, e5. Well.
Knight f7, maybe knight c4.
No, knight. Oh yeah.
Knight d3. This is very nice.
He just.
So knight c4, knight c5. It's
But
double attack.
he can take.
Also,
He can take on e4. Oh yeah. Then
and
a4 is
rook
gone.
a4.
Well, looks like Sergey managed to outcalculate Vladimir here. So this tactical sequence worked in his favor.
This is very nice.
Yeah, for Vladimir it's actually a usual problem to wake up quite early. He just told me that he hates playing in the morning. He usually avoids it. And, well, in Blitz is even worse. So
But
maybe...
organizers did not have much options because we have a match
Yes.
game between
That's
Magnus
for
Carlsen
sure.
and Vishianen today, so players really had to start in the morning. And 11 rounds, it's quite tough to play, but it's Blitz, it's fun.
Yeah, sure. But it happened that, well, things went completely wrong for Vladimir. He lost the first game of today against Boris, and now he's just...
He's in trouble.
He's pawn done for nothing. Okay, everything might happen. Black knights might be quite tricky. Okay, he prepares some queen h3 stuff or something like this.
Two bishops and a pawn, it's really clear advantage for white.
Objectively, yes, it's a big advantage for white. But once more, what to add? Once more, it's Blitz. It's Blitz.
Everything can happen. A lot of blunders there were yesterday in winning positions, so
yes, especially in the second half.
We cannot say that the position is hopeless because there is always a hope in Blitz.
That's for sure. But objective assessment is that step by step,
Karjakin should be able to convert this game into a full point.
white must convert his advantage into full point, especially considering the time factor. Well, not so easy to find active moves.
Less than 20 seconds for Vladimir Kramnik, and Karjakin has 1 minute and 48 seconds. This should be very much enough for whites. It's very, very difficult to find good moves in this position for black. You're pawn down, white has two bishops, all control over the white squares. There is a little active knight on e4, but it might also come under attack.
But at the same time, it's always hanging.
Yeah.
Okay, I would let's say consider just something like f2, f3. Probably it's not necessary, but the point is that actually this active knight on e4, it just simply has no squares. Okay, Sergey probably did not want to calculate f3, g5.
And bishop e3.
Came
now,
anyway.
The c6 pawn is pinned. A little activity from black, but it weakens black's king after g5. Steal a pawn. Oh, there is a little tactic, or not really?
Just some
bishop
desperate
c6.
try in the last seconds. I think it's just hopeless for black anyway.
It is
Yes,
really
yes.
bad.
Yes,
And
losing material. Yes, sad loss for Vladimir Kramnik. I think this b5 was a bit